All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council being called to order at 6:10 p.m. Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah,
Here.
Hassan Ahmad,
Here.
Mo Beydoun,
Here.
Nancy Breyer,
Here.
Robert Constant,
Here.
Ray Muscat,
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance is going to be led by our Councilwoman Nancy Breyer.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman.
No problem.
Next up on the agenda is agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Beydoun.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda of the regular meeting of December 13th, 2022 as submitted. Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Beydoun, supported by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item number 4, approval of the minutes.
Council Chair,
Councilman Ahmad?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 22nd, 2022 as outlined in 4-8.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad and seconded by Councilman Beydoun. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda, we have public hearings and comment on agenda items only. You will have 2 minutes. You'll be able to come up and speak on anything on the agenda. And please state your name, city, and street. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up? Come on up, sir.
Good evening, Zuhair Abdulhaq, Dearborn Heights.
Street, please.
354 Rosemary.
Thank you.
First, I want to wish all our residents and everyone here happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all of you.
I'm so sorry, real quick. I just got a message saying that there's no sound on Zoom. So if anybody can,
Okay, so hold off, sir. Is there anybody on Zoom that can give us a thumbs up or anything that they can hear us?
if Chief Brogan's on there, if you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear us.
Oh, he covered it.
Ali saying yes.
Yeah, they can hear us.
Angie said she's got sound up.
Okay, now who's
We
doing
can
the
start
time?
all
You got
over,
time? Okay, so go ahead, start all over.
You got the watch, Ray?
Yep.
All right.
I'm watching you closely too, sir.
Okay, I'm going to talk about 9A. I want to thank the clerk for putting this item on the agenda, which gives me the chance to talk about it. I would like, before you vote on it, if we can direct the clerk to put on the city site the dates those commissions were established and by what way. Was it resolution of city council? Was it ordinance, or was it by charter? Because lots of commissions which are called for in the charters, they don't exist, they are not active. A second, who has the power in the charter or by ordinance to deactivate any commission in the city? And who has the power to activate the commission? I would like you, before you vote on this, receive, note, and file, to address those questions so we know exactly if any one of those commissions was illegally established or not. Thank you. And
Thank you, Mr. Abdulhaq. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hello, this is Cindy King, your comptroller. I just wanted to request that 9D be deferred back to the administration.
9 what?
9D,
9D? D as in dog, right?
yes. It's the GovInvest contract. I would just like to take that off the agenda for today.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Council Chair, we did put in the recommended
I did
motion
see
that it was
I did
referred
see
back
that.
to administration.
Yeah, I did see that. So somebody would
Thank you.
still have to go ahead and
Yes.
and make that motion.
Yes.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience that would like to come up to speak? Okay. Seeing none and hearing none. Anybody on Zoom that would like to speak on agenda items? Madam Clerk, do you see anybody or no? Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Next up on the agenda is item number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydoun?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims 6-1 through 6-81 as submitted.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baydoun and supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
I have two items, so they should be real quick, I hope.
Okay,
The first one is on 6-32, I believe. It's the Wade Trim certificate of payment. It's not exactly about this, but in my travels through the city, we pay an engineering firm a lot of money to do our engineering work and hopefully oversee all contracting that's done. A few years back, I had persuaded Wade Trim to replace some cement on Hass because it was already breaking up and it was brand spanking new. I traveled down, to the request of a citizen, traveled down Charlesworth between Hass and Warren. That road is not very old either, a year or two at the best.
Not even.
And it is breaking up bad, it's pitted, it's either bad cement or very poor workmanship. And if this, continues, we probably, as far as I'm concerned, need to look for someone else who will look out for the best interest of our city. That being said, I'm hoping that someone goes out and looks for this. I will make the proper phone calls to the engineering department and let them know about it. I just wanted to bring it out to the public, let them know that we're aware. Just like the Lewis Manor subdivision, I drove through that again the other day.
Fairwood, right?
Fairwood, Hass, it was all brand-new asphalt. It's all breaking up. It's only 3 years old.
Okay.
It's ridiculous, so.
So I'm going to
that's one.
give an opportunity to our city engineer, Mr. Dibb, just any quick comment on that? Just at least you're aware of what he just mentioned?
And I can talk to Mr. Deeb at a later date if he would like.
Council Chair.
One quick
Yes,
second.
sir. Absolutely. So part of what we're doing currently is we're looking at our standards throughout the city. And I'm talking to the building department, who's I'm part of. We're looking at our standards to determine the mix designs that we contract for, the oversight to make sure that we're getting what we want. And we're also looking at the standards we follow, like the distance between drains on the roadways, things of that nature. So we're expecting this winter, we'll have all new standards that are designed for our city. And then we can go after who oversee the construction. We're looking at all that now.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Deeb. Councilman Muscat, you had one more, you said?
Yes, I do. 675, and I think I'll ask our treasurer about this. This is from Plant Moran. These are the charges for them, for doing our services rendered. Are they still, or why are they still doing bank reconciliations for us?
This probably should be a question for the comptroller's office, because they're responsible for bank
Okay.
reconciliations
Then-
against general ledger versus the treasurer's office.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Liz.
Hi, yes, they are still doing bank reconciliation statements because those bills that you see right there are through for last year, and they were still cleaning up last year's through June 30th, and they're starting to put in the bank recs for this year as well.
Isn't that a function of our job to
It
do
is a
that?
function of our job, and we are in the process of cleaning all that up right now because we have so many bank accounts. It's convoluted on how to trace the money, I should say. And so part of it is in one bank account, the other one's in another bank account, and we haven't been able to train our employees in the comptroller department to actually show her how to do a bank reconciliation through.
That's a comptroller's function.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
it is.
Thank you for the explanation.
Okay,
You're welcome.
thank you, Ms. King.
Yeah, so this was an issue last year. I think our original comptroller, Mr. Badri Jawad, the idea was you keep the accounting on the general ledger. Whether it was in account A, and so there are a lot of bank accounts open, number one. And number two, that's part of the overall, with Plant Moran coming in, and that's part of the whole contract for them to redo our systems. Is that not correct?
That is correct. Right now, we are finishing up our year-end annual closing of our audit, and that is due on December 31st, so that's where our focus has been. And then once that is completed, we will be starting to work on the things that definitely need to be addressed and cleaned up.
A couple of years ago, the state treasurer noted in our audit, they note that your bank reconciliations are way too far behind.
Yes.
Thank you.
But can I just say one more thing? That we
Please.
did put them all into the BSNA system, so it will be much cleaner from this point, going forward. They
Thank you.
haven't been in the BSNA system till now.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Any other questions on fund transfers? All right, hearing none. Motion made by Councilman Bedun and seconded by Councilman Constant. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8A, Dearborn Heights DPW Supervisors Association Contract.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat, go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the attached changes to the agreement with the Dearborn Heights DPW Services Supervisors Association and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign the revised agreement on behalf of the city as outlined in 8A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat and seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, mine is not necessarily a discussion on that because I know we've gone back and forth, including some closed sessions on this. And I thank and congratulate everybody for getting us to this final phase. But it's a little side thing to this. I just happened to stop by the DPW yards and I had a little concern from some of the DPW supervisors, employees, et cetera, their rest area, snack area, you call it whatever you want, lunch area, whatever. It's just a couple of old chairs just thrown together in some corner. Whatever we can do, whether us, administration, whatever, and I'm sure they'll even probably build it out. But we gotta do something for them to be able to sit, relax, and have a little nice cup of coffee, because it's pretty bad setup. So I, for one, would appreciate whatever we could do for them. If we could somehow throw that in there, and I'm sure we could find the money for it. It shouldn't be too expensive.
Council Chair?
Councilman, go ahead.
Yeah, and years ago, I worked there, you're talking about like a little kitchen, a break
Break
room.
area, but it's bad.
Yeah, and most employers have that, and they have the posters up that they're required to have and so.
Yeah, there's the little,
It's-
it's not there.
It's like yeah, good suggestion.
Yeah, so whatever we can do, I mean, these are some of the guys and gals that provide a lot of the very important customer services that a lot of our residents expect, snow plowing, cutting trees, et cetera. So I love them for that, I thank them for that, and I'd appreciate whatever we can do for them for that. Okay, any other discussion items on this?
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
I spoke with several members of the supervisor team, and they're happy with this contract. It's just, it's moving in the right direction. It's just a shame that we couldn't have had this type of agreement with our union employees earlier on this year. But this is a good contract moving forward, so maybe something to work on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Any other discussions on this? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Congratulations to everyone involved. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 9A, Clerk Senior Annual Publication.
Council Chair?
Councilman Bedun?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council authorize the publication of the annual publication
amended notice of the meeting as required under Public Act Number 267, Public Act of 1976, and clarify the wording of the city council meeting portion, read, in quotations, in the event of a primary election, the first meeting in August will be held Thursday, August 10th, 2023, and December 26th, 2023, meeting, in quotations, canceled. The amended notice of the meeting to be published Wednesday, December 14th, 2022, as outlined in 9A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydun and supported by Councilman Ahmad. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat?
In light of our request earlier, that something that I didn't take for granted, I took for granted about these, of how they come about, who's got the authority over them, starting, stopping. This may be something that we may want to refer back to the administration to find out some of these questions of that Mr. Zohair Abdel Haq brought up. That's my opinion, so, and I'll leave it at that.
Council Chair.
Council Chair.
Okay, so any comment on that? Or you're all set? Madam Clerk?
This is required by law.
1 year in advance.
This publication covers all of, it's under the Open Meetings Act that we have to do this, so that we're covered for publication for our meetings for next year.
So in retrospect with that, we
Yes.
can go ahead and publish this.
Yes.
Approve it, and then bring it up as a item for next year, for our next year.
We can work on it, and we
Yeah.
can definitely look on it. Can work with
Okay,
the
I
Corporation
believe,
Council.
okay, so I'll take my comment back.
And keep in mind, once it's published, I presume, and let me know
You
if
can
I'm
always amend
wrong,
it.
I presume you can make changes.
You
as long as
absolutely
you
can
announce
amend it, as long as we bring it back to you.
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
in the event, in the
So good.
future,
So I'll rescind
we
my-
have questions, concerned, we will give it to our corporation counselor, and if there's something we want to change, we can vote on it and go from there.
I will rescind my.
Council Chair?
Okay, thank you.
Chair.
So next up was Councilman Baydun, and Councilman, Wenzel, and Councilman.
Well, Council Chair, I was going to be brief. I was going to ask just some recommendations from our corporation counsel on this. But I mean, if he's going to rescind
I'm gonna
that,
rescind it right now.
and if it's the law, then I think I'm all set with mine.
All we're doing right now is you're just
I know.
publicizing it,
I
that's
understand.
it. And it is on the website, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Last year's is, and
Yes.
then we'll put
Okay.
this one on.
Okay, so next up is Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Yeah, what kind of time sensitivity is this, does this have?
Off the top of my head, I know it has to be done before the next year.
We don't have another
To
meeting,
cover, we don't have another meeting.
Okay.
and it's not worth having a special meeting. No, I agree.
So again, Councilman Wenzel, once it's published, if there is whatever particular change that needs to be done, as usual, the council body would vote on it. Obviously, we'd get the opinion of our corporation counsel, Roger, and then we'll go from there.
Those are
If
just
that's a
questions
decision.
we want answered.
Yeah,
And we can
because there's definitely
work
some-
on that then.
Yeah, there's
on
definitely
the
some questions brought
establishments
up
of
by
the commission.
Mr. Abdul Haq.
Okay.
Council Chair?
Councilman Constant?
But we're mixing apples and oranges, so like the different commissions, it's not by charter, so like I think they're talking about the Watershed Stewards Commission. That was started by Kurt Heisey and myself, because we have to put in this report to the county and the state, the SWEPI, and we get extra money. And then, like, for example, let's say the Diversity Commission. That was created because Margaret Van Houten, when she was on the council, there was an incident in the North End. So the time of our meetings and so forth, that's not contained, that's a separate thing, Clerk, you
I
understand what I'm
see
saying?
what you're talking about.
So
Some
the
of our
history of who gets appointment for now, the zoning board of appeals or the, appeal for your tax assessment, that's a different animal. But that's what I think Mr. Abdul Haq, who I know left, is looking for, and that's something different from, council meeting starts at 6, so, if people want to attend, they can attend.
And most of this information is in our charter, or is created by an ordinance. Some of the
By
boards and commission, those are all online.
What
So it's just a
watershed-
matter of researching it to find out when, the ordinance number was adopted. But it's either usually a ballot initiative or it's an ordinance that was approved by the
So
annual
a
body.
lot of the commissions were created by a suggestion of the council person. But Yeah, that would be by ordinance, and then we pass an ordinance to have a diversity commission.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from council members? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9B, City Engineer Ali Deeb, Water Main Replacement Program Change Order Number 3.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the 2020-2021 Water Main Replacement Program Change Order Number 3 for a total reduction of $15,817.88 as outlined in 9B.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, and this is seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is an item 9C, Controller King New Claim Presentation Format.
Council Chair,
Councilwoman Breyer, go ahead.
I recommend that the Dearborn Heights City Council concur with the Comptroller's recommendation to present a BS&A report as a claims cover sheet to council as outlined in 9C.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilwoman Breyer and seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that? Just a quick comment from myself. A lot of cities don't do, a lot of cities don't do these types. You gotta mute that.
Yeah.
Got it? Okay.
Oh, I might need your assistance. Go ahead.
Okay, so a lot of cities don't necessarily do these types of claims through the city council. This was brought forward a few years back by a former councilwoman that brought it and felt that the council should see it. So this particular recommendation, I personally agree with Controller King, because there's no sense in them doing this twice or doing it at a format that we like, but doing the work double. So give us what you recommended. I'm okay with that. At least I'm speaking on behalf of myself. And if any council member wants more information, obviously they can contact you, have a conversation, and get it all cleared up. Personally, I'm comfortable with what you are asking for, and I think it'll make things a lot more efficient. Not to mention, I went through the new format. I mean, it's pretty readable. I mean, a little harder just because it's new, but eventually I think we'll get it. So thank you. Any other comments on this? All right, hearing none, motion made by Councilwoman Breyer and seconded by Councilman Muscat. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is the item that Comptroller King mentioned at the podium a little bit earlier regarding GovernFest contract.
Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad, let's go with Ahmad.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council refer the master service agreement for the pension and labor costing services between the city and GovernVest back to administration as outlined in 9-D.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad and seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Council Chair,
It was suggested we refer it back.
I'm sorry?
That's what
Yeah, we're just
we're doing now, we're referring.
Okay.
voting on it.
That's the,
Yeah,
we're referring back.
so, any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman
I
Baydun?
referred, I move to refer this back to administration.
That's right.
That's what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
That's what the motion says.
So any other discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is item 9E, that's IT Director Cooper, AT&T FirstNet Cell Service.
Council Chair,
Councilwoman, go ahead.
I would recommend that we make a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve AT&T FirstNet Primary as the cell service provider for the city, which will expand the use of cell phones to staff that may be required to communicate and complete work off-site. The pricing is based on Michigan Deal State contract. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants, and the treasurer to issue payment for the cost of the service out of account number 101-200-853.000, one-time payment for equipment out of account number 101-258-981.000, and furthermore, authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the proposal on behalf of the city. Moreover, provided the mayor also authorizes any such payment as necessary expense, the city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council is authorizing any such warrants and payments without prior authorization by the city council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted by and consistent with City Charter Section 8.9 as outlined in 9E.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilwoman Breyer and seconded by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair?
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at these, there's probably, 80 phones or something like that, and something. Look at the cheapest monthly rate for a phone is $40 a month. I mean, I'd pay $25, I have 4 phones. Isn't there get a better deal than this? I mean, you have so many phones. Is there something special we're getting out of this deal?
I do know this is something that has a lot more security because it's for first responders. But go ahead, Mr. Cooper.
It is for FirstNet, that is for our first responders. It's actually a different bandwidth than what your traditional phone would access. Best way I can explain it is if you're at a University of Michigan game, 100,000 people around, have a very hard time making a phone call. These phones will actually make that phone call because it's for first responders, the primary and the secondary and the bandwidth. The $39.99 is actually dictated by the state of Michigan. This is negotiated by the state for us with the providers. AT&T was awarded the state contract, unlimited data, unlimited text, unlimited voice, all included with it. You can't, as a state entity, we can't beat that pricing. So.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the information.
Council Chair Abdullah wants to know if he can use one at the Lions game. I told him no.
He said there's only 20 people there. It won't matter.
Their crowds are getting
I
bigger.
couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
Sir, so what's the difference between the $39.99 and the $44.99?
The $44.99 are, they can be tethered. That means they can be turned into hotspots for them. For example, our inspectors that go out and we've already provided them with their laptops or Surface Pros to go out there. One of the very biggest complaints I got when I took this job was they've got these, but there's no internet for them out there. So we already provided half the equipment. This is our way to provide the rest
Are
of
you
the
talking
equipment
about the tablets or are you talking about?
It's going to turn their cell phone into a hotspot
for the tablet.
for their tablets, so they can
So
actually
this is
utilize
not
them to the full.
negotiated by the state, this is our negotiation, correct, for this one?
No, this is all my deal
All-
pricing.
All,
Yep, this is all my deal.
all you do. Thank you.
One,
Thank you,
one, Council Chair?
Go ahead, Councilman.
I noticed like at least a third of these are for our directors and engineers and building inspectors. Do we need that kind of bandwidth or whatever it's called for those?
In all honesty, whether we go FirstNet or we go AT&T traditional plans like you get at home, as a state entity, $39.99 is the my deal
Okay,
pricing.
All right, okay, thank you.
Yep,
All right, good work. Thank you.
on the next one.
All right, so back to item 9E, which I thank Councilwoman Breyer for reading that. It's about 40 sentences, so good job.
Thank you.
All right, any other discussion items on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you. Well, you're next again. Might as well stay up there. All right, next item on the agenda is our IT Director Cooper, City Hall Phone System Agreement Alteration.
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the amended phone service agreement with Windstream to include updated equipment and connections that will reduce the monthly cost of phone service to City Hall. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants on behalf of the city and the treasurer to issue payment out of account number 101-258-728.001. Furthermore, authorize the mayor and the city clerk to execute the service agreement on behalf of the city. Moreover, provide the mayor also authorize any such payments as necessary expense, the city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council is authorizing any such warrants and payments without prior authorization by city council if the specific warrant and payment as permitted by the consistent with City Charter Section 8.9 as outlined in 9F.
Second.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Baydoun. Any discussions on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried.
Council Chair?
Why, he's still, why, we're
Thank you
still up
very
there,
much. Can you come on up?
Director?
Sure. Go ahead.
No, you mentioned that price is regulated by the state, what we pay for cell phones? It just came to me.
The My Deal pricing, yes. My Deal, State of Michigan, that negotiates on the behalf of us, so we don't have to go out for RFPs and whatnot. They do, if you go to My Deal, just search Google My Deal, you can find all the different pricing for a lot of the different entities that you can have. So literally, it could be vehicles, for me, cybersecurity services it can provide. And again, because of the mass deals with it, you're going to get the best pricing utilizing My Deal.
So you feel this is the best price we could basically get on these cell phones, this many?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
Councilman.
Thank you.
Cooper.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Okay, so, motion carried. So next up is item 9G, Police Chief Hart Purchase and Pay In-Car Cameras Extended Maintenance Agreement.
Council Chair?
Okay.
I'll hand it off, it doesn't matter.
All right, so
long as we're doing
let's go with Councilman Mott this time.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase and payment of the extended maintenance agreement between Safe Fleet and the city for 35 in-car cameras for police vehicles for a total cost of $5,775. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants on behalf of the city and the treasurer to issue payment out of account 101-300-818-000 as outlined in 9-G.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad and seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 13A, Business License Renewals.
Council Chair?
Councilman Baydoun?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council renew the business license for Anthony's All Car and Truck Sales LLC at 20032 Van Born and Randy's Robindale Bar at 25122 Warren as outlined in 13A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydoun and seconded and supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydoun, go
I
ahead.
just gotta say, Randy's has been a long-time business, I think, in our community. I know the business owners are very giving to the Rotary Club as well. They offer certain things with them, so I just wanna give out my kudos to them and thank them for their services and being here in the city of Dearborn Heights. And they've definitely upgraded their canopies. It looks nice. It looks real beautiful. They got a nice patio. If you guys haven't tried it, they also got great tuna melts. Randy's got a great tuna melt.
Great
Yeah.
burger, too. Okay, thank you. All right, any other discussions on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 13B, Temporary Food Truck Tent Cart Business License Application.
Council Chair?
Okay, now we're gonna give it to somebody new. We'll give it to Councilman Constant, go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the temporary food truck tent cart business license applications for Katrina Mia and Mr. Bowles as Bowles outlined in 13B. I like the first name of the restaurant, but that's Mr. Bowles.
Support.
Bowles. Okay.
Mr. B is outlined in 13B.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant and supported by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair?
Councilman
I
Baydoun?
believe the gentlemen that are going to be opening this up are here. Maybe they can give us a little bit about what their cuisine is going to be all about, and or maybe once this is approved, we'll get some tests.
And the correct pronunciation of the name.
Mr. Bowles.
How is it?
Bowles.
Bowls, like a bowl.
We're gonna put my bowls in your hand.
See, thank you.
That's right.
I screwed it up. Bowls, like a
How you doing? My name is
bowl of soup.
Rabi Hamoud. We're looking forward to do business in the city of Dearborn Heights. We appreciate this opportunity. We're going to have a food truck that serves Mediterranean-style food, but done a little bit differently than your normal
shish kebab and kafta and stuff like that. We're going to do rice bowls with chicken and a little bit of American taste to it, but with a Middle Eastern flair. So hopefully we look forward to seeing you guys there, and once you approve us, definitely. And
40 years experience here.
that's
Where are you
right.
guys
So
located?
we've been in the restaurant business for a long time. Our parents own restaurants. My dad was one of the first Middle Eastern restaurants in the city of Dearborn on Warren,
rest
back
his
from
soul.
1979 to 1994. So we've been around. So
What
we're in the
restaurant
business.
was it?
It was called Lebanon Restaurant. It was on
Yes.
Apple and Warren, if
Yeah, I
anybody
remember.
remembers. And his father owned Cedarland.
No
Exactly.
kidding.
What's the
So-
address for your location?
We combined.
It's at the gas station right across from the Mako plant, now Ford.
Across from Tim Hortons.
Yes.
Mike purchased the station.
The old
And we did-
fire, old
No,
fire?
it's in the station.
No, it's in the gas station. It's in the
Where's-
Sunoco.
Which one is that?
It's across the street from the Tim Hortons.
Okay.
By where Ford,
yeah.
Ford is at right now.
Yes.
100%, yeah. So Mike purchased the station, and we're doing the food truck to bring a little diversity into the area and make, get a little action going.
Okay.
See what happens,
Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate the city of Dearborn Heights.
Thank you.
And thank you for the
Appreciate it.
council.
So is it going to be inside the store, or will it be
No,
a food
it's a
truck?
food truck.
Food truck.
It's a
Okay.
food truck. Everything is in the truck itself. It's self-sufficient. It runs itself. It's a whole entity by itself. I mean, it's got its own sinks and counters, and the only thing it doesn't have is a toilet. So we got to go inside for that.
Council Chair?
So what we've done with the food trucks, for those in the audience, this was something that I pushed for about a year or so ago. The reason I was pushing for this is, unfortunately, there was a lot of people that were opening up food trucks if they wanted. Nobody was checking them. There was no okay from City Hall. There was no okay from the Health Department. There was no okay from anybody. It was basically somebody just buys a truck and puts it somewhere in Dearborn Heights, and they'd be up and running. And I, for one, personally had a problem with that, not only in terms of health and who's eating, and nobody's checking on this, and you'd like to presume, I always presume that somebody somewhere checked on this, well, there was none. So we put together, all of us as council members, the ordinance, put it through, and then now we're starting to see more and more food trucks, which I think gives a nice flair to the city, so.
And we
Good job.
appreciate that. Also, just so you know, on that note, anybody who does open and wants to get through has to have a license from the health department.
Correct.
And also, be registered to the state.
And the building
which we
department
are.
and the clerk's office.
Everybody.
But on a side note, I've heard from a lot of food truck vendors that our city is a very smooth operation as far as getting your license for opening up a food truck, so.
Yes, it was
good
very
job.
smooth. The ladies here, thank you very
The
much.
best.
I mean, they did a heck of a job.
Lynn is the best, I promise you, the best clerk in
She's
the
on point.
country.
She's on point.
In the country.
She's on
Absolutely.
point.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Councilman Wenzel was first. Go ahead, Councilman.
What was that address again?
21314 Van Born.
Well, we've been pushing, I've been, especially me, been pushing for businesses on Van Born.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank you for being one of the first to get your foot in there, and
We appreciate that. Thank you.
why the prices are cheap, and hopefully you're going to start a trend where these prices will be going up, and people will wish they got into the deal when they could. Thank you so
Right.
much.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you,
vote of
Councilman.
confidence.
Councilman Constant?
Yeah, just to Councilman Abdullah's point, Councilman Abdullah was on the city council when he came to the council, and I think I was chair, and he said, I gave you, we need to do something about the food trucks, they're coming to the clerk's office. And so both Councilman Abdullah and Councilman Baidoon, but mainly Councilman Abdullah, for events like Ramadan, for 4th of July, there was nothing, and the clerk said to me, the former clerk, I gave you the package, and I was originally against the food trucks, but it's worked out very well.
I think it has. I know some restaurateurs were concerned about, having 80 food trucks per block, and that would close their businesses down. But as you've seen, it really has not happened. I think there's about, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 of them throughout the city now, maybe 7?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so it's working out good for everybody, and the residents have other options.
At the same time,
Council Chair? So you're in the Sunoco station next to Cooper's Garage?
Yes,
owned
exactly.
By Jerry,
It used to be Turfy,
Used to
yes.
be.
Mike just purchased it.
okay, you're
So-
in there.
We're in the state, we're in that property and on
That's a
that
small
property.
station. I live
It's-
about 4 blocks away.
So if you looked at the site plan that we submitted.
Yep.
The truck fits right there, right on the side of where Cooper is, where that fence is. And the station is wide open. There's plenty of spaces to park and to
Again,
Keep
conduct
in
business.
mind, it's been given the okay from the building department, so they've gone through that particular
We-
process.
kudos-
Okay, we gotta move it.
the Council Abdullah, because that station was closed for years, for 20
Yes.
years.
Yes, we're reviving it with the help of Mike here and the food truck.
Thank you.
So we're going to get that area up and
Thank
flowing
you.
again. We got a couple of things also, hopefully for the future. We get some nice stuff going there, some
Wish you guys
diversity.
best of luck.
And I give, I agree with Councilman Wenzel, the more operations, I can tell you guys as a Realtor, I said this a while back, the place to buy is on Van Born, because I'm telling you, that road one day, because the city's focused on it. Taylor is focused on it, Dearborn Heights is focused on it, the mayor is focused on it, there's been many meetings on it. And I'm telling you, that's the place to buy, because you're going to make some good money in the next few years.
A lot of potential there. That's why we're there.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right, thank you,
Okay,
guys.
so, motion made, and this motion has been carried, so congratulations. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried, congratulations. Next up, we're going to have members of the public, we're going to have short comments from council members.
Council Chair?
Councilman Tom Wenzel, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday Season, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa, and a very happy and blessed 2023. This time of year is a perfect time to participate in family activities. I mean, as little as making cookies with the family, or go out and do something nice for someone else. It's a perfect time. And we always complain about different things that happen in the city. We have people calling us about a good thing happened today. We had an issue with a water main break, and DPW sent out a highway crew to clean up a mess that was an issue for quite a while. And thank you to them. Really appreciate it. 2023 is, you'll find out if you catch any of the meetings coming up, I'm going to stress 2023 is a year of safety in Dearborn Heights. And it's because of all kinds of issues that have been happening lately, public safety, traffic safety, police safety, pedestrian safety. There's a phrase goes around this time of year. It says, "No child without a Christmas." We want to make sure that we don't have to live by this other phrase. Again, no Christmas without a child. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Councilman Ahmad?
Thank you, Council Chair. I have an announcement from Lansing. There was a bill, a short-term rental bill that was introduced to the House earlier this year that passed the House but went dead in the Senate regarding the short-term rentals. So, and I did check with the building department. We don't have any ordinance right now for short-term rentals. So I think, I don't know if we can maybe direct to go for a study session or something for now, maybe next year until, because this bill is going to be reintroduced again to the House next year. So until then.
I'll discuss it with you. I had a discussion with the director on that.
Okay,
So
excellent.
I'll talk to you after the meeting.
And moreover, that I can't believe it's been a year already for me on city council, so I'm grateful for our residents for allowing me to serve. I'm grateful for all city employees, department, elected officials. I'm grateful for the exceptional individuals on city council that I've been serving with. And Council Chair, I'm thankful for your mentorship and grateful for your leadership.
Thank you.
Looking forward for great things in 2023, and happy holidays, everyone. Thank you,
Very
Council
much.
Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
just to be brief and just to echo what a lot of my council members here have said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. This will be my son's second Christmas that he'll be enjoying. Maybe he'll be ripping up some gifts this year, and we're hoping to not get him an iPad, but my wife wants to. So that's some exciting things this year. But truly, just kind of hearing what our councilman, Mr. Wenzel said, a lot of children this year around time of the year will look at their friends and look at their peers, and they'll see different gifts, and there'll be some parents that won't have any children there with them. And so my heart goes out to those families and those children. And if anybody feels the need of any assistance or helps, there's a lot of organizations out there that are still helping out. I know that the Amity Foundation, which I serve with, will also be helping families. So if anybody knows of any individual family that needs any help, reach out to me privately, and we can see what we can do to help out those families. Also, just kind of what Councilman said here, Councilman our Councilman Chair has always been a huge mentor. Every city council meeting picks up the phone, asks us if we need any assistance. And it's not one time, it's not one meeting, it's consistent. And so we thank you for that, truly.
Appreciate it.
And that's all I have here, Council Chair.
Thank you very much. Anybody
Council
else?
Chair, Council Chair.
Councilman, go ahead.
First of all, I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This will be merry for some people, not so merry for other people, and I have that feeling right along with you. And I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. And that's just about it, but I'd like to know why I don't get that phone call for
Me either.
mentoring me.
From
I feel left out now.
Because
Me too,
we started
Councilman.
At the same time, and
Thank
you're
you.
an old veteran of this business. I gotta call you for advice.
No, that's not true.
I don't get it either.
But it's
A little bit of favoritism.
But I want to thank all the
Who
council.
told you to call Dave?
I want to thank all the council members. Each one of you have made phone calls to me, and I've made phone calls to you, and everybody's answered it, answered the call. The directors all year long have answered my emails and my phone calls. And I thank you, and to all the residents that I helped serve. I did the best that I could this year. Sometimes I am successful, and sometimes I'm not, and just want to say thank you again.
Council Chair, I'm so sorry, there's just one thing I have written here that 20 seconds.
Go ahead.
I also want to congratulate our Parks and Recreation. They did a phenomenal job this last tree lighting.
Yes, they did.
It was spectacular.
It was nice.
It was absolutely amazing. I wish I would have, knocked down those, the singing, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I think I forgot it. I was a little embarrassed with myself, but,
Been there, done that.
the good news is I'm going to come in full force next year. I'm going to memorize it, and we're going to be
Your
good to
son will
go.
teach you too.
Yep. I was a little embarrassed with myself, really was.
And I also gotta give kudos to Santa. I know I can't say more than that, but a good Santa.
Oh, he had good
Fantastic.
glasses on too. They
Yeah.
were nice specs.
He was a good Santa.
All right. Councilman, you had something to say?
You want to go first?
You go first, ladies first.
All right. I'd like to thank everybody here on the council and all the people that come to our meetings and have questions for us, and hopefully we have answers for you. And also our administration and all our directors and our corporate council are doing a bang-up job, and we hope to continue and improve next year for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you, Council Chair. And briefly, I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday season, some good time with family. I want to thank our council chair and my colleagues on the council. I've been on council a few years. This council is running smoothly. There's no wars going on back and forth, we're getting stuff done, we're communicating, we got a new chamber, so it's a joy to be up here.
Thank you.
That's it, thank you.
Glad to have you here.
And these otherwise have been very volatile times with COVID, the businesses closing, got the masks on, don't have the masks on. This has run smooth.
Good. Thank you. All right. Anybody? Okay, that's it. So next up, we're gonna go ahead and go to announcements from administration. I see on Zoom, we have our favorite Kim Lawrencell there, so Recreation Director, go ahead.
Hi, I'd like to thank you guys for commenting on our tree lighting. It actually went very good, very smoothly, and we were really happy with it. Our crowd was huge. We had made a last minute change, and thank you to our library director, Michael McCaffrey. We were able to do that change smoothly, and they also participated by handing a craft kit out to the kids, which they liked too. I'd like to also thank the building and maintenance department. That was a huge help. Their direct W workers that helped because we had everybody pitch in. And
We missed your last sentence, and I think they deserve their credit, so I'd like you to repeat it, please.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank did you get the building and maintenance? Was that part of it?
That's the part that started to get cut off, so go ahead and.
Their director, Mr. Conrad, and the DPW workers, we had a few regular workers help out as well. The fire department, which was crucial to helping us with some of the crowd control, the police department again with organizing crowds and lines, especially our director, Michael McCaffrey, who helped out with allowing us to use his parking lot. My staff, especially Cheryl and Tammy, who actually bagged 800 Christmas cookies for the cookies that we handed out, and we ran out. We ran out of everything again, but they also scooped up 800 little containers of frosting and everything else the night of that they helped out with. The Riverside Youth Choir, every year that they've been able to help us out, they've been there with bells on their toes. The Crestwood High School Jazz Band, who starts us off for the night, and if you got to see the tree lighting, they were spectacular.
Yes, they were.
And then they were really good. And then the speakers there from the Honors Club that helped out a lot. So we definitely could not have done this event without everybody that pitched in. And, you know, there's actually way too many people to name, but those were the very few that really contributed it. And, you know, I appreciated everybody's help. And thank you guys for coming as well. You got to see firsthand what Parks and Recreation does. So thank you.
Thank you, Director, and good job again, and Merry Christmas to all involved. Next up, anybody else on Zoom? I don't see anybody else on Zoom from administration. Okay, so anybody local, come on up, Treasurer.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm going to speak to you as the treasurer. I have to get my phone out because I was taking notes as you were talking. So first, though, I want to thank all of you for wishing everybody in our community and the families, you know, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, but also for acknowledging the families that are missing a loved one. Okay? So I just want to extend that appreciation. What I wanted to go back to, if I may briefly, just for clarification, Councilman Muscat, thank you for bringing up the question about the bank reconciliations, because there was a lot of information that I want to share with you briefly. As Councilman Constant reminded us, there was a letter from Michigan Department of Treasury, and that was at the end of the audit from fiscal year 1920. So Mayor Bozzi and myself had to sign off on that letter and action plan, and we were both new to our positions at that time, the positions we hold now. One of the things that I want to remind you of is, you know, there was a finance team that was formed like we have now. It was made up of the then comptroller Badri Chawad and your now director for community development block grant, Director Hassan Jamal. I will tell you, he is one of the most knowledgeable men I've ever met when it comes to municipal finance. Very good advisement. I want to just say, with the bank reconciliations per Plant Moran, they made the recommendation that it was a conflict of interest for the treasurer's office to reconcile their own work. Okay, their own treasury work with the bank accounts, which is how it ends up going to the comptrollers. I just wanted to share that with you because some folks may not know that. As your treasurer, I do get that information to the comptroller within 3 business days, plus they have access to the bank accounts as well. Which is something relatively new from the treasurer's office. But what I did want to say and revisit is, though, and I do agree that right now our finance team, we're working together to move the city forward, to refine, to streamline those efficiencies, things we can do better. But I do want to say that your former finance team, and again, Director Jamal was instrumental in this, was the separation of the bank accounts, the restricted funds. You as a council body actually adopted that resolution, and rightfully so, to restrict those restricted accounts in their own bank accounts. So as your treasurer, what I do is I follow these things: federal law, state law, city charter, ordinance, and what you resolute or legislate to me, your treasurer. And if you have any questions about any of those things, especially those accounts, I encourage you to call me. My door is always open to you all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Treasurer. Anybody else from administration? Now, I do want to make a quick announcement that our mayor is at a State Department conference, so he apologized that he could not be here with us today. But we have his chief of staff here in case you have any announcement from the mayor. Anything you'd like to announce? On up.
I guess just piggybacking off on the treasurer, and because there were so many finance comments today, yes, we made a lot of changes in 2020 when the mayor, myself, and the treasurer were fairly new here. We now have Plant Moran, who is our contracted consultant, who's helping us fix a lot of the issues here. The amount of bank accounts that we have is one of them. We're having a workshop with Plant Moran next week. So it is very likely that throughout the upcoming 6 months, you're going to start seeing a lot of changes in how we're presenting financial documents to do. That's going to help streamline the process, make it faster, make sure that we're doing those bank reconciliations in a timely manner, that our audit is simpler and we don't have to invest so much time looking for information. So again, we're taking all of Plant Moran's recommendations very seriously. There are certain points when we need legal counsel for it too, because there are certain things that are restricted by bonds or grants, et cetera. But we're making sure to, take all the necessary steps and due diligence in order to move the city forward and streamline that process for the city.
Okay, thank you. Just one quick second. Councilman Constant.
Yeah, three things. I mean, I recall having conversations with then Comptroller Jawad about the expense and yourself of opening up a separate account. So on the books, you keep track, but there's, some people thought there was some political reason to put money in account A or account B. And then the prior treasurer, who was a CPA, had a certain method that regarding cash flow, because there'd be times when the city could be very short on cash, that things were done to keep the city flush with cash. And then regarding there's a statement made, so if I have a checking account, if I balance my checkbook, that's not, I'll leave, it's not a conflict of interest, it's the duty of a department. The comptroller issues the checks, but to keep the bank statements to different funds and to reconcile, to go back, that's not I don't know how that could be a conflict of interest.
It's a collaboration. Again, each department has their responsibilities. The information needs to be shared across the departments. I'm going to leave the recommendations to the experts. That's why we hired Plant Moran. But so far, the consensus is that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in our city with regards to our policies, not matching what our charter says, not matching what our current practices are. So again, we're just streamlining the entire process, making sure it has the same information throughout the city, and we all know exactly what the best process is by the recommendations of the professionals.
And these days, I'll tell you, in the legal profession, it's all the software. Oh my gosh.
Yes, we're underutilizing a lot of the software tools that we have, and we need to clean them up. So that's also part of the process. What you approved today was a huge help in simply releasing the comptroller's office from manual labor. That's a duplicate of what already exists in the software. So.
Thank you, Mariana.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana.
May I just, real quick?
Okay, quickly.
Because nothing is political. It's about doing a job that the people elect you to do. But first of all, regarding check reconciliation and the bank accounts, that was Plant Moran that made that recommendation, so it wasn't politically driven. It was exactly
what I was saying.
Chief of Staff, we're not going to go back and forth, so I'll go through the chair. Okay, I just want clarification, because it kind of felt that way. And I don't want it to be misconstrued or misunderstood, that was what Plant Moran, the consultant's recommendation was. And that's it. And again, council members are welcome to call me anytime versus, coming here and making statements to try to grandstand or do other, because it's not necessary. We are all on the same page. Council Chair, respectfully, I have the floor. I'm being interrupted.
Okay, let her finish.
Please. We are all here to accomplish a task. We agree to what Chief of Staff just said about streamlining, because we've said this for a while, that we're not using the tools we have And I wasn't going to publicly say that, but yeah, like BSNA, we're not using it to its fullest capacities. And that's something that we have been soliciting and asking for, okay? That's all. Again, I just ask that you please get your information correct before you're putting it out there to the public, okay, at face value. And that's not correct to do, to anybody, quite frankly. Please. Thank you.
Any other announcements from administration? Seeing none. Anybody on Zoom? Seeing none. All right, let's go to the next. Next up is public comments. You will have 3 minutes. Any members of the public that would like to come up and speak? I'm going to start in person, and then we'll go to Zoom.
Council Chair, just 1 minute, please.
Yes.
I just want to inform the public that we are, because this concerns public comment, we're going to soon have a clock up.
Correct.
So we're not so archaic doing one of these, and I don't like
Yeah.
doing this, but
Yeah, I'm
I
going
just
to add
wanted
something to that.
Yeah, so,
Since you brought it up.
So-
I've honestly and truly always felt sorry for the person keeping track of the time, and sometimes it's Councilman Muscat, sometimes Councilman Baydoun, and they're put in a position to be the mean person that puts up stop and all that, but we're just following the rules that we have on council, so they're looking like the bad guys, but they're not. They're pretty decent guys. Want to say it.
And I just want to add something on there, though, Council Chair. When we're the ones saying stop, and I'm looking at you, say stop, I'm saying stop, you just let me get yelled at.
okay.
Go ahead. Name,
Sue
city,
Sacheta,
street.
Times Herald. I want to
Wait,
thank,
I apologize, because we do have to go through the protocols per the clerk. So
Well-
name, city, street, please. If you don't feel
Times
comfortable,
Herald,
say I don't feel comfortable. That's fine.
Times Herald, which exists on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for changing your your meetings so that they are on the second and fourth Tuesdays, because Dearborn is on the first and third Tuesdays, and for many years, we reporters have been stretched thin trying to cover both cities on the same days. You've seen me scurry out of here and scurry in late. And on behalf of myself, and I'm sure the other reporters appreciate it as well, that you are meeting on alternate Tuesdays from Dearborn, so we can give both cities better coverage, the coverage you deserve. So we really appreciate that spirit of cooperation.
I'm not sure what Dearborn has changed, but as far as I know, we have not changed.
Dearborn
We've
is
always
first
been-
and third
Okay,
Tuesdays.
so they may have changed theirs.
You
Ours
are
always
now
been
the second and fourth. So-
Ours have always been
The only thing is, just for clarification, and I appreciate where you come from, Sue, just for clarification, if we don't have a regular council meeting on the next Tuesday, a lot of times we'll have a study session.
Oh, I realize.
Which is still what
Yeah,
people see
yeah,
as a city
yeah,
council, but
yeah.
it's not a quote-unquote, the one where we vote.
But it was difficult for us
Yeah,
to try
I
to
can
get to
appreciate
Dearborn
that.
at 7:30 when you were meeting, in the past too, when you were meeting at 7. These 6 o'clock meetings are so much easier. When
Yeah.
you do have a holiday or a study session, we can at least attend part of it.
Sure.
So get some photos and watch the recording later.
Sure.
So thank you for letting us cover both meetings, both
You're very
cities better.
welcome. I read the paper, so I appreciate it. Anybody else in the audience that would like to come up for a public comment? You'll have 3 minutes, please.
Hassan Soba, Whitefield Street. I'm here on, I guess, a city issue that's occurring with the new business in residential areas. I've talked to Nancy about it yesterday. The Barashat Club that's off of 6834 Beach Daily. There's not adequate parking. I live off of Whitefield and Richardson, and since it's opened, we've had nothing but issues. Our vehicle has been hit in our own driveway, and people are parking up and down Whitefield, Richardson. There's photos. We've had 3 car accidents since the opening October 9th. As of homecoming, they had rented the property, and people came in at midnight and didn't leave the property till about 2 a.m. till the cops dismantled it. And unfortunately, as a 20-year to 21-year resident of Dearborn Heights, I don't think it's fair for the residents not to enjoy their property, besides the fact of have to clean up after the business that's in the area. Our streets have become a parking lot for the residents. And from an engineer and planning and a design engineer, for that property of them establishing that it accommodates 250 people, 100 in their basement and 150 in their upper level, that parking lot should be one parking space for every 2.25 people, which would be 112 parking spots. And unfortunately, right now, that parking spot doesn't accommodate 40 parking spots, if not 30. Besides the fact that sale, and as a realtor, I know that property was sold with the house right next to it at 6852 North Beach Daily.
Correct.
So if there's not adequate parking, that house needs to be demolished where a parking lot needs to get established. So I'm not sure how it was established or how it went through the phasing for that property, but it needs to be relooked at by the city. And I've contacted Mayor Bezzi, and he's ignored my calls and my messages.
Okay.
Council Chair?
So let me just quick comment, if you don't mind, Councilman. So I'm familiar with the particular social club. Just coincidentally, my friends and I happen to have done a holiday party there this past Saturday, and it was from 6 p.m. I think we were gone by about 10:30ish, maybe 11. It was nice, quiet, clean. We had no problems, but there was not that many people there.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell you this. This was my first time having a formal experience with the directors of the club and the president of the club, one-on-one, because I was the one that kind of made the arrangements for my friends and their families. And I tell you, they're pretty reasonable people, so whatever concerns you've got, and it's up to you. But I don't mind being the conduit to connect you with them, tell them about your concerns. And my experience was they were very good people. I'm sure they'll be willing to work with you.
I understand, but when you have 100 cars parked on your street in front of your house where people can't be parking in front of their house and your vehicle's getting hit, that's a different story.
No, I totally understand. And no place should be a nuisance to any resident and vice versa. I get it. I'm just telling you, if you'd like, I could help arrange that, to have it as a starting point to maybe meet with them, tell them about your concerns, if you'd like.
It's not necessary. I believe the city of Dearborn Heights has to look into it because my next step is taking it to the state of Michigan where their licenses or however it was approved, because it's being advertised as a banquet hall. It's being advertised as a multi-use situation with 250 people. Besides the fact you do not have, they're using their basement for 100 individuals. It's not a egress situation. So that's another thing the city hasn't looked into, I guess.
There's an egress. There's two exits. I happen to have seen.
Okay. Well, I live right in front of it.
No, I'm saying from the basement. There are two exit points to the outside.
Okay.
Council Chair?
I'm going to have, just give me a quick second. So I'm going to have Councilman Muscat go first. And then the person, just to be fair, the person to contact on that, at least the starting point, if you want to look into it, would be the building department instead of the.
I have, and nobody's responded to. I went there November 21st.
I'll connect you with the chief of staff and she'll coordinate things for you.
What I want to say is I believe that we should direct the building director to look into this because this is a big issue without parking spaces. That's not right. I really don't care.
I have photos from every event that has occurred over there.
And it's not so much that we need photos. If they're having a banquet facility, they can hold that number of people, and there's only 30 cars, 30 spaces. I don't know how they received their business license.
We had a.
Well, just to be fair to everyone involved, let's not be judge and jury here.
I'd like for Mary on the
administration look into it.
Building director to look at that.
Councilman Wenzel had a question, then you're next. Councilman?
My question was where it was at, but
It's on Ford Road between Warren and, I'm sorry, on Beach Daily between Warren and
It's
Ford
right
Road.
on, it's the
east side.
existing church. It's probably a block right off of Warren, 2 blocks.
Okay. Councilman?
Well, we had a similar issue years ago. The Drews Hall on Beach Daily was used as a rental, so these are different community groups. And I've been going to Hamtramck for years, and the one population is, so all of a sudden, a particular community hall gets a lot of use, and thank you for bringing it to our attention.
It was an
We'll get
existing
it
church
taken
and
care
was
of.
just sold as of 2021, 2020. It was an existing church.
What church was it? It was.
I forgot the
It's
name
on-
of it.
where
but
is it? It's on Ford
It
and
was
what?
sold
It's on
as of
Beach
2020, 2021.
Okay.
Closer to Richardson.
All right, so we got to move on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. If you don't mind, give your name and number to Mariana, Chief of Staff, right there, first person, and then she'll contact you. Okay, anybody else? Come on up, ma'am.
I always got something to say at every meeting. Y'all should know this by now.
Okay. Name, street, city, please.
Katie, Joey is mom. Between Dearborn Heights, Inkster, and Romulus. There's really no street at this point for you guys.
It's okay.
So I took the opportunity to go out and buy these nice little reflective strips in the last week. And I chose to last night, after I was done with Toys for Tots, and go put them on the stop signs on that corner at Party in Annapolis. I took before photos of all 4 stop signs. And these are all during the day. And then these are done at night for what I did, to make some sort of progress to get done. Rather than sit here and wait for this study session to move forward, I took it upon myself. I want to see change now. And the fact that I had to go out and spend about $40 on 5 packs of these, and there's only 4 in there, what does that say? I mean, it's not much, it's a start. So.
Okay. I can tell you, I spoke with the police chief and with Mr. Deep. The process has definitely started. These are the 2 gentlemen from within the city. And of course, our school administration, of course, also starting to work with them on that. So the process has started. The wheels have started turning.
Council Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Katie, how you doing? Thank you, and I'm sorry that you had to do that, and again, sorry for your loss, but I've got some information here on different types of resolution in hopes that we can put something together, and there's just different municipalities. You'll see things like a toolkit for school districts and city leaders, and there are different, like I stated, like sheriff departments where they put together resolutions, and so the start has definitely happened. I know government isn't the fastest, but I can assure you that everybody from the administration to the council, to the directors, to the police chief are definitely concerned about this. Joey Smith's passing will not go unsaid in Dearborn Heights. As long as I'm here on council, I promise you, there's gonna be a change. How fast, how soon, it's just a matter of time, but I promise you, and it should have happened before. But unfortunately, it didn't, and I'm saddened, and I'm hurt, and I can tell you, everybody is hurt and saddened by it. But I promise you, a change will happen. You have my word on that.
Thank you.
And again, I'm sorry that, that happened, but we'll catch up, you and I, and maybe we can figure out a way to maybe even raise more funds so that we can do it, not just where Joey passed away, but across the entire city.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Council Chair,
Councilman Winslow, go ahead.
I just want to let you know that the nonprofit I'm president of, Jamie's Kids, purchased 4 metal reflectors 3 feet long, 3 or 4 feet long, and we were going to put them on there, but I went to the DPW, and I didn't want to do it without their approval, or say, a councilman went out there and installed this stuff, and I put a note in there to have a volunteer from the highway department to come after hours to put these on, because I just wanted to go, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. But like I said at the last meeting, that this intersection should be the prototype of the intersections throughout the city, and you did a first step on that, and it's coming real soon. As soon as I get information back from the DPW, we'll be installing those reflectors on the poles. Thank you. Thank you for everything. God bless you.
Council Chair.
Councilman, go ahead.
This, is a your heart must still be aching. It was a terrible, terrible accident, and I said this before, that traffic and, you know, especially these days when everyone, at any school is an issue. In front of the OW Best now, they have, it's all one way, but just, our heart goes out. It was just a terrible, terrible tragedy, and for you to be standing and doing something about it is very laudable. I would, other people might not be able to get up, so thank you for coming.
You're welcome. I had two of the children that are sitting out here in the crowd with me last night, helping me. And I completely watched the car blow the stop sign. And I yelled at them at 10:30 at night. So
I live right around there, and
I know you do. We had discussed this at the last meeting.
terrible.
But it's like, I feel we need a little more police presence, regardless of time, in the neighborhoods.
And people with distracted driving and with all the different, I see people, you know, Gino Polidori, God rest his soul, he pushed for years the no texting while driving. And we'd drive back and forth to Lansing, we'd see the cars, we'd see people drift this, and you'd look and you'd see the driver there texting on their phone. So there's there's a lot more distractions these days.
There is.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody, come on up, man. Anybody else in the audience? Come on up, man. Sorry about that.
Good evening.
Good evening. You'll be next.
My name Namat Mekki. I live on Shadowlawn in Dearborn Heights. And I've been there for 43 years.
Shadowline?
Shadowlawn.
Shadowlawn.
Yes. Lately, I've been experiencing discriminated some by the city ordinance. 3 years ago, I had the bed flower.
Flower bed.
So they make me move the wood lumber, which is I did. Recently, Mr. Rick came to take the measurement for the house. I was asking for fence. They gave me the permit. So he make me to move those flowers.
You mean
And-
force you?
And the,
Why doesn't the husband come up, they can both talk?
Yeah, if you need to speak, sir, if you don't mind coming up with her, because otherwise they won't be able to pick it up on the microphones.
Okay. I'm Abraham Fatallah. I'm
So-
her brother.
Okay.
I apologize.
Do you care for my address?
so
Yeah, if you're gonna be speaking, just street, not address, just street, city, and that's it, that's all I need from you. What street and what city, that's all.
Myself?
Correct.
Sussex Park, Sterling Heights.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So those flowers, the city have them on a golf course, and he make me move them. And my neighbor,
In
allow
order.
me to show you how he parked his car. I wasn't able to go cut my grass. So what I did, I put mulch so I didn't have to go to that area anymore. And they came, they told me move those mulch too. So every time I put something on my property, they got the upper hand. She just has to make a phone call to the ordinance. They come by the way to my door, telling me, why you yell at your neighbor? Let her stand on your property to go into her car. I said to him, I never said nothing to her. I never spoke to her. He said, okay, come on, let's confront her. He went in, he confronted her, and she told him, oh, he found out she was lying. So they gave me permit for the fence.
Your own property.
Yeah, that's my neighbor on my property. He gave me the permit for the fence. When I put the fence, he said he revoked it from me. I have a garage. It's been there for 46 years. He make me move it. Just because she told him so. She has a connection into the city. I don't know.
She only been there for 40 some years.
For the first 35 years, she never had any complaint until the Caucasian family moved in. Here comes the trouble.
Okay, sir, if you don't mind,
Nobody,
we can't go in that direction, please.
yeah,
Oh, no?
nobody knows my name. I never been to a police station, never been to a court, never been here. Until that family moved in, I put that fence, now they ordered me to move it.
After she got a permit.
Ms. Mackey,
So-
have you, I'm so sorry, Council Chair. Have you reported this or gotten an attorney? Have you went to court, anything?
Yeah, go ahead. Pardon me?
Have you reached out to an attorney? Have you went to court on this?
Yeah,
Was
we
there
went-
issued a ticket on this?
We went to the court.
Okay,
They end up giving me ticket. The judge said, move the fence. I got a permit. They gave me permit. I did what the permit said.
well, I mean, if the court isn't involved, I don't think anybody here can be able to do anything when it comes to the courts. At the end of the day, it's a different jurisdiction, and when it goes up to the courts, council, even when it goes in front of administration, council has to kind of.
So the only thing we can do here, I mean, we're the legislative part of the body. Of course, you have a right to speak on whatever comment that you want to speak, and I thank you for bringing that forward. At this particular point, because we could go back and forth, but on our end, we're not the ones that will be handling this. So if you don't mind, ma'am, if you could give your name, number, and address to the Chief of Staff, Mariana, she will look into it with the appropriate departments and find some sort of a resolution to this. I'm sure between everybody involved, we'll try to get you a resolution to this.
You just want to be treated like the others.
And, well, because it's in the court.
How far in front of the house? Can I see this? No, I think this is right.
Everybody in the neighborhood across from me, they have a fence last year. They never left an inch. Behind me, same thing, never left an inch. He want me to move 3 feet. He gave me the permit. We gave him the drawing. We gave him everything. Everything perfect. He gave me the permit. When he came to take the measurement, she came out and said, oh, I want to open my car. I want this. I want that. He told her, okay, ma'am, I'm going to make her move for you. And then I'm going to make her move the gutters and move the flower. My son heard him. He was in the bedroom. My son was from New York. And
Tell the board.
Okay.
He widened his driveway 18 inch. That's the city ordinance called for 18 inches of grass.
And the neighbor widened his driveway, so he got no more grass. That's all my grass, so.
Okay. And I do appreciate and understand your concern, and it will be looked into, but what I would suggest, ma'am, if you could write your address, name, and
I
phone
will.
number, don't say it publicly, and then give it to Mariana right here, the first young lady over there. She'll look into it for you to make sure the appropriate department contacts you, try to help find a resolution to this.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No problem, you're very welcome. Mariana's right there. Come on up. Okay. Anybody else in the audience that would like to come up to speak? Come on up, ma'am, you were next.
Hi, my name is Paula Lanigan, and I live on Lincoln. Been there since 1977.
In Dearborn Heights.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I am the crossing guard at Annapolis and Pardee. And I can tell you, every single day, I feel like I take my life in my own hands. Trying to get across the street, people going around me as I stand in the middle of the street with a stop sign. I just think there's got to be more we can do. I know she put reflective things on, that helps at night, but during the day, like Penn Vassar Park, they have signs out there that tell the parents, people to slow down, there's children in the area. I just don't know what else we can do. The parents are just out of control. Every single day after 3 o'clock, it's gridlock. You know, the police come and they've helped a lot. They come and honk the horn. People stop double parking, triple parking. There's just not a lot of room, excuse me, for all these people to be parked on that little section of street. And the kids, last week, 3 times I had to go and grab a kid, you know, I tell them to stop, and somebody goes around them anyway. They just think there's no such thing as stop.
What's the solution, do you think?
I don't know if more police presence, cameras, tickets, you know.
Crosswalks?
Yeah, so this is what.
And the sergeant daughter said that they ordered the paint to redo the streets. strips, and it says it's on back order.
Yes.
Okay. So like I mentioned before, the police chief and our Dearborn Heights engineer is working on this together with the school boards to try to make things better and safer for everyone involved.
Yeah.
But also, the police chief here, I'm sure he's heard it
Oh, sure.
multiple times now. So I'm not giving him
I
direction
call
because it's not.
Sergeant, and please, somebody, I need a
Yeah.
police presence over here.
Yeah, so that's something obviously the police chief will have to assess and determine, and, that's his end of the city, and I'm sure this is something he'll be working on, as he is a chief that does care.
Okay. So
Okay?
who do I follow up with?
Well, I can tell you this, I can tell you myself as a city council president, I've personally made it my venture, and I've already spoken with the chief earlier today about this, and he's aware, and Mr. Deeb is aware, and everybody is aware. I'm gonna keep this thing on the table between the school boards, the city, the police department, DPW, who will ultimately do the physical work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure personally, and all of our council members have said the same thing. This is a very important subject that we gotta continue to work on, continue to push. So there's a lot of things that happen on the back end. Obviously, not everything is done here. But I can tell you, I'm speaking as a council president, I'm gonna continue to push this thing on the back end. And I have,
I just don't wanna
what
see
I'm very
anybody else get
comfortable with, some very competent people handling this, between police chief being very competent, Ali Deeb being very competent, and just as importantly, the different school boards involved, and this is citywide,
Yeah.
which I know we've
but
elected
I've been told that
competent people.
Bedford is even worse.
I'm sorry?
I was told that Bedford School is even
Yeah.
worse.
So all the school boards have been invited to this. I've also spoken with one of the school board superintendents, and he's also taken on the leadership role to go ahead and and he's already contacted different superintendents. So all the wheels are turning to make sure between all of us,
Right.
okay, it's not just one person, it's all of us involved, including residents,
I just
who
wonder
should take a
what other cities
responsibility.
are doing,
Yeah, including the
Can't just be
residents,
here.
because listen, I'm sorry, not listen. Our police do their work, but it's incumbent upon us as residents to drive safer. There's kids there.
Yes.
I mean, you don't need a police officer to give you a ticket to stop this. I mean, it's logic.
You would think.
I know.
It's hard to believe.
But I know our police chief is hearing this,
I know.
and I'm sure he will assess the situation and do the appropriate
I hope
moves
so.
for it.
That'd be
Council
I
Chair?
appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen Ms. Lanigan on that corner several times, and for the whole school, she's the only crossing guard there for the whole school, and there, thousands, hundreds and hundreds of kids coming out of there, and there maybe no parking on Pardee Street further down. I mean, it is such a gridlock for her to even do what she does is a miracle. It's a miracle that more people have been injured there. And
Really, thank you.
one of the residents contacted me about the paint on the crossing on the street, and they gave me some numbers to call. And I called a paint company right on Van Born Telegraph. It's in Taylor, but it's right across the street from DPW, and they do have this paint in stock, and they paint. They just painted Telegraph, a high traffic road recently in this type of weather. So I don't see any reason why we can't get this paint and get it painted. This all should have been done, before school started, not worrying about it now. And I've used this phrase before. You're closing the barn door after the horse gets out. I mean, these are things that should have been taken care of, be proactive instead of reactive. And thank you for what you're doing. And I know what you do because I do the same thing. But you are you're something else. I'll tell you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much, man. Councilman, go ahead.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for what you do. And it was we don't have, I can't remember any other fatal accidents in the South End in the last several years. But I just going to remind the council chair, we talked about having a ticket item. So instead of saying, and then someone said, okay, so resident here, you've got a problem. You mentioned it about a system in Dearborn.
It was one of the residents that mentioned it.
It was a system in Dearborn where, okay, this is going to be item number, and we're going to sign it and follow it. We have a program in the mayor's office that tracks constituent complaints. It's specifically to do that. So when was I chair, I think you talked about the ticket system for if somebody comes and they said, we had the people coming over and over about the cement draining over onto their property.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And it went around and around, so.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
No problem. But like I said, we have some very competent people dealing with this. They understand the situation and they're doing whatever, they're assessing it and then moving forward with some.
Council Chair.
direction.
Sorry, I have a-
Okay, go ahead, Councilman.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking out loud here. I don't know, maybe Leslie, you can help. I mean, I think the issue here is we have a traffic space issue. All these people leaving at the same time. Do you think the school, maybe they can have different classes exit from different doors, maybe? Maybe the others, they do still, and we still have the issue.
Maybe it's different, maybe you can start doing the seniors leaving 20 minutes early than the juniors, or the seniors.
But that's just it. Each school has different times on letting out. But
What-
it's the fact of, it's always congested no matter what. Because
Okay.
you have one student at Pardee, you have one student at Annapolis, one at Best. You
Yeah.
got kids.
Yeah, that's why, you guys gotta stop talking to people in the audience because nothing comes out and it looks like we're ignoring them. Okay, Leslie, come on up. Name, city, street, please.
Leslie Windlass, Annapolis Street in Dearborn Heights, Michigan. I've been meaning to talk on this topic for the last couple meetings. It's very hard though, because sometimes it feels like everybody's trying to shift blame. Oh, let's talk about distracted drivers. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. I haven't heard one person talk about what they can individually do. So I did crossing guard at OW Best for the last 2 weeks, and they tried to get me to come on your corner, and I was like, you got the wrong one. It is a war zone out there, and there's nobody there. The police don't even drive through. I recorded the police officer, I guess, that's supposed to be there in response to the study session, and he's sitting in the parking lot at Annapolis High School, which is the least problematic because the kids are older and they either drive themselves or they know how to cross the street for the most part. Just because we haven't had fatal accidents doesn't mean that this isn't a priority. We have had children get hit at Bedford this year alone, at least 3 of them who were injured. Last year, our principal was ran over. Her entire foot was ran over, and she was put in the hospital. So there is something that needs to be done, whether people are dying or not. Someone lost their only son, so it should be an agenda item until it's fixed so that someone doesn't have to feel like they have to wait all the way to the end of public comment to come up here to get an update. It was not on the agenda at the D7 school board. I don't know what you're talking about when you say you have a working relationship with them and you're partnering with them, because at the last meeting, they announced that they didn't even know about the study session and they weren't invited to come to the study session. So when you say things and then you go to follow up and fact check what you're saying and it doesn't add up, it makes it look like you're just talking so people will shut up at the podium. So instead of making promises that you can't keep and talking about things that you can't do, talk about what you can do and then do what you can do as a servant leader. We lost the baby, therefore paint back order really shouldn't be, unless you want me to go get white paint and just go do it myself, because I will, but then you'll arrest me for vandalizing your property. We can go out there and we can do these things ourselves, but it doesn't change the fact that these drivers are out of control. I had somebody flip me off the other day and I almost track them down. So you don't really want vigilantes like me out there doing it, because it probably won't end well. So we do need a more structured system between the school board and the city council, because right now it doesn't exist, and I don't believe that it's being worked on per their own words at their last school board meeting.
Okay, so just quick answer to your question, Leslie.
I didn't ask a question.
No, well, statement. All the school boards in the city were, per me and the clerk spoke about this. I set the study session. The reason I set the study session, I wanted conversations started. And I've promised everybody involved, I'm going to keep this thing going, at least on my end. I'm going to keep this thing going until we start to see results, better results, things that people can see. I don't like, personally, I agree with you. I don't like meetings. You can have 8,000 meetings.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you got to have actual movement. Sorry to break it for you, but you got to have actual movement of things installed, added, subtracted. I don't know. And I spoke with the chief today, and I told him, I'll tell you bluntly, I, as a city council president, I'm not an expert on traffic and where they come, where they can go, but the only thing we can do as a council body is continue to push. I can tell you the administration's on board, they want things to happen, but as far as the school district, with due respect to them, the clerk emailed every single superintendent
And we
in
received the
the
email.
city.
And the school board members.
I'm sorry? And the school board members, let them know about the
Their
meeting.
site, whatever was on their website.
But the fact that they
That
missed
email.
it, it's okay. Let me tell you why it's okay. Because as I mentioned at the last meeting, and I'll mention it again, one meeting is not gonna solve the problem. It's not gonna be the end-all, be-all. Absolutely not. I wanted the conversation to get started. And once the conversation gets started, people will start moving on this. And I can tell you, I spoke with the police chief, face-to-face, one-on-one. He wants this thing to move in the right direction. He cares about people's safety, otherwise we wouldn't have this type of a job. The school boards, I know they care. I know the council cares. I know the administration cares. But it's just, you know, you want me to tell you what I found was
What you
missing?
can't do, Dave, though, you're talking about paint that's on back order, but she just told you she wouldn't find reflectors and put them on herself. Like, what
Okay.
can we do now?
So this is back to where Mr. Ali Deeb and the chief and the school boards gotta work together, because these are the main people that are gonna be running this. That's why at the last meeting, I said I want actual names of who's in charge of, we'll push, but there needs to be a director helping on this. And Mr. Deeb is very sharp when it comes to this type of stuff. He's looking into it, he's on board, he's told me he's on board, and I'm gonna continue to push.
Well, you know I'll be here.
But what I need your help on, you know what I need your help on?
Yeah.
Also with the school boards, with whoever you know, anybody I know on the school board, I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
I wanna keep this conversation going, I promise you.
All right.
So what,
Told y'all
and
to.
maybe I'm just thinking out loud real quick. Chief, you know, we have a crossing guard here, we have a pro bono crossing guard over here, and they're saying that people are driving recklessly. Can we take down maybe license plates? And can they report that to the police department, and then maybe we can, you know. That's what our last study session was.
We did
Around
have that
schools.
discussion.
So we'd be happy to take license plate numbers and look into it. There are things that we're doing. We have had enforcement in the area. When I speak to Sergeant Dotter, who's our sergeant of the Traffic Bureau, people that are being ticketed are the ones that live right there. In fact, somebody who was actually, apparently, this is through the sergeant, was at the study session or the council meeting. They got pulled over. We're going through a stop sign.
Let's start impounding their cars.
So enforcement, what I'm saying is, I hear lots of so's. The so is, I believe, that study session with, it can't always be somebody else. It can't always be someone else. We have had crossing guards quit, according to Sergeant Dotter, because of the behavior of people dropping children off at the school. We just heard from Leslie, who said that she almost chased a car down, right, a driver. So this is a very complex problem. We started out with, hey, listen, we're hearing from the schools in a meeting, 10 to 15% of the people dropping kids off, they're the ones creating the problems, and they're not going to change until we get a ticket. In fact, Council Chair, you and I talked. What message do we send to the police officers during the last meeting? Because by the end of the meeting, it was, well, some people just need to be talked to and told about their behavior. We're giving conflicting, right, direction to our police officers who are out in this area every day. So, yes, if you want to collect license plates, we can go back and have conversations with people, but it all starts with a choice to drive around our schools and our babies recklessly. And apparently, we're not going to get the message until we have police officers out there that are writing these tickets.
Well, this is, let him finish that.
And I know Councilman Pro Tem Muscat always says that nobody's gonna listen until you hit their pocket.
Absolutely.
And to be honest with you, and this isn't just Annapolis, guys, this is across the entire city of Dearborn Heights.
Yes.
And if there's one thing that you're gonna get, if the courts are listening, we wanna hit their pockets, and guess what? We want it to go on their insurance. Because you know what? Nothing is worth it when it comes to a child. And I know he's been pushing that for many, many years. Maybe that's what we need to do. One person rolls a stop sign. We're not gonna waive that impeding traffic. We want them to get the points. Because let me tell you, and I'm just gonna give you guys a quick example. You drive down Military Road today, it is 25 miles per hour. It goes from outer military, it goes from outer drive to military, it goes from 35 to 25. I was one of it. I was going 35, Officer flicked me. I said, no way. I said, it's 35. He said, it's 25.
Yep.
But everybody was so confused. Every morning I drive to work. As soon as that white line stops, you see me at 22 and that cop is there. And you know what? I swear to God, every single person around me at 8 in the morning is driving 25 miles per hour because they're afraid of that ticket. I swear they are afraid of that ticket. And you know who the cop that's doing that? It's the cop that lives around the block that says, for so many years, I wanted to do this and I wasn't able to. And I had that conversation with them and I said, you know what? I deserved it. I deserved that ticket. I should have known it was 25. Instead, I was going 35, but we won't go back and forth into that. And I think, you know what? Once people start, those 100 people that are doing it are going to think twice the next time they jump off their children. They need to get a ticket, they need to get the points.
And Corporation Counsel and I have had conversations. I believe, Roger, I don't want to speak for you, but our last update was that you have been engaging the court as far as fines. We're looking at ordinance fines and many other fines. That's the fine piece and the consequence piece is another part of the system, right? But actually putting somebody in the system is my side of the house.
And you did a great job, Chief, honest to God.
And it's the officers, and it's not me, it's the officers that are out there, right? And it saddens me to hear that there are some that are still in the cars, right? But we do have a lot of great police officers that are out there that are taking the appropriate enforcement action. And if we have to get our reserves involved, if we have to get the Wayne County Sheriff to send some reserve officers out to supplement our traffic around our schools, then that's what we'll do.
And Chief, maybe we'll catch up later, but I also had that conversation with the undersheriff. And I've been meaning to call you on that.
Yeah.
So they said they're 100% on board if Dearborn Heights needs their assistance.
Yep.
Councilman, go ahead.
Thank you, Councilman Mulbay. I appreciate what you said on how I've been preaching this for 10 years or better. Chief, is there a way that our crossing guards can be deputized only for taking license plate numbers so that the violators can be ticketed? Because, in a perfect world, we don't have a policeman on every street corner. It's impossible to do, and that's anywhere. We'd have to have a police force of 3,000 policemen. We just can't do that. It's physically impossible. But we've got to find a solution to the way people are driving. And this is and let me ask you: do the police officers go to court when they're getting a ticket? When people get a ticket, they're still going to court? No. Because when they go see the magistrate, there's no police officer there.
It depends if there's a civil infraction conference or not. If a police officer receives a subpoena, it's an order from the court to go to court.
What I'm saying though is, can't he write on the ticket, this was a school zone? And there's no going in front of the magistrate and pleading, hey, I've got a clean record and blah, blah, blah. Because, come on, we've got to be responsible enough. This is a school zone. And especially during the times of 7 o'clock, I'll say 6 a.m. till 5 p.m. You don't stop at a stop sign, you're getting smacked. Period. Yeah. End of sentence. There is no, I got a good record. Because you know what? You're running a stop sign, you're not paying attention. You could put up 1.5 million signs up there. People don't care about the signs. And everyone in this room who drives is guilty of a traffic violation when the speed limit's 40 and we do 45. Because we think we can get away with 5 miles an hour over. Every one of us. That includes me.
Yeah,
but doggone it, somewhere along the line, a dollar's got to stop somewhere. And especially in front of a school zone where she wants to get run over, she's getting forced off the road. It's ridiculous. Enough's enough. And I think to double the fine in a school zone between 6 a.m. And 5 p.m., and if there's a football game going on or a basketball game going on, it goes to 10 o'clock at night. If the ticket says you run a stop sign in a school zone, you're done, period. End of sentence.
Okay.
Council Chair?
Okay, so we gotta, okay, go ahead, Councilman.
The chief mentioned something about some cadets, Wayne County and reserves.
Officers.
Now, would they be paid?
Reserve officers are volunteers.
Are volunteers?
Yeah, we do have reserves here in Dearborn Heights, but I also know that I've spoken to the sheriff and undersheriff before, and that their reserve staff, and even maybe some sworn staff, we collaborate together. If you're on Beach Daily, we have police officers that have to be a lot of places at the same time. So we ask them to take Beach Daily enforcement for us. So those people that travel Beach Daily, 2 weeks ago probably saw Inkster out there enforcing traffic laws. That's one of our border roads. So we're trying to build some partnerships here and take a multifaceted approach to this. And in fact, Corporation Council has suggested maybe doing a campaign and for people that want to volunteer for their children to be in some type of safety videos, right? Something that we can push out to our community that somehow finds a way to get people to do the right thing around our kids, especially.
Okay,
But
now,
it's
how,
the people who are dropping our children off, their children off, according to the school superintendents that I met with, who are, that's the problem.
you know, they're the ones that should be ticketed. Now, how do we go about getting these officers or volunteers to do this? I mean, this is something, who directs you to do it, or who can do it? Because this is something we have to have done when the kids come back from Christmas vacation. We want these extra officers out there for that. I mean, who do we do, what's the process? Anybody know what the process is to make this happen?
As the chief of police, I reach out to the
Okay.
sheriff's department.
Could you do that, please, and see if we can get something going by after
Absolutely.
Christmas vacation?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, do we still have?
Thank you, Chief.
Council Chair. Do we still have the Explorer program, or?
We do not. That's definitely on my list to.
Do you think
bring
the
back.
people, like individual in the Explorer program can help with something like that?
That one's a little tougher in the sense of being younger, right? We have adults here that are trying to change behavior and direct other adults around school zones, and they're not listening to them. I mean, this should really bother everybody.
It does, Chief,
Right?
and
That we have adults out here who are in our school zones trying to change behavior, and they're having this type of conflict, right? When they're there to keep traffic flowing and kids safe around our schools.
Okay.
So-
Councilwoman, go ahead.
Council Chair, I recently had a call myself from a lady who told me that we lost a crossing guard person in District 7 because she was directing traffic and this car thought she wasn't moving fast enough with the children, and he actually hit her intentionally. He wasn't going very fast, but he did hit her. And the problem seems to be with the adults who are not acting responsibly when they're driving.
Yeah.
Okay. Council Chair.
Councilman,
Chief,
go ahead.
do you have any idea if the school sent any literature to the parents about this issue and asking them respectfully to slow down, or maybe we can send something and saying that there'll be more police present and more tickets
Yeah,
given?
I don't know the answer to that, but, you know, we can certainly ask them to send it out and use their listservs. We can use resources like that. Or I think we can all be in agreement here. This is a choice. It's not necessarily an awareness problem. It's a choice. It's a choice that people are making.
And Chief, I just
Okay.
have one last thing, Council Chair. And I know that, you know, we have volunteers that are assisting, and I think you and I can both agree that when there's someone in uniform, though, that person that wants to drive past, or, you know, we both know that, you know, somebody's gonna think twice. And so, and I know you said you spoke with the undersheriff, I've spoken with the undersheriffs in the sheriff's department. And so if they're offering that, I thank them, and I thank you for reaching that out, and hopefully we can get something like that with them. And we'll be good from there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Nancy.
And
Thanks, Chief Hart.
No, she spoke already.
Okay.
She spoke already. Anybody else on Zoom or in the audience has a public comment?
Council Chair, just one question. Did I hear you right when you said that there's a meeting planned for this, or there's some people, or we've had a meeting?
No,
or-
I spoke with one of the superintendents.
No,
He's
I mean,
already spoken
yeah.
with other superintendents to get the process started. Mr. Davis, of course, already started the process on the city's end. Our police chief has already started the process on police departments, obviously.
Can we get,
assessment.
I'm sorry.
And then the school boards are all aware. So, you know, like I said, everybody's just getting the
Okay.
process started to make sure we have continuous improvement of our current infrastructure.
Okay, well, obviously, you're in touch with these people, and I'm pretty sure that none of us six know what the police chief is doing. It'd be nice, can we get updates or something?
No more, no less. Events, in person, make calls, just keep the wheels moving.
Yeah, it'd be nice if, I'm not being.
So it's not a formal meeting.
No,
Formal
I
meetings
know
are all
that,
like-
yeah, but I'm saying, for our sake, when people talk to us as being, the leaders of the city, that we're as much informed as every other person on here. I mean, nothing against you, because you have the job and stuff to talk to these people all the time.
I'm just trying to keep the
I know
wheels
you do.
moving.
That's because, please keep us in every bit of the loop. I appreciate it. Thank you.
This will come up on a regular basis at the meetings until we get
for
better
sure.
and better results.
Oh, yeah, forever.
Come on up, sir.
Dave, you don't know my name by now.
But I have to do it formally
Okay,
through the
all right.
clerk.
Drapkowski, Columbia Street.
Dearborn Heights.
Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Wayne County. Dave, this message is for you. I want
There
to
we
go
go.
home and take this off.
All right,
It's itching my skin.
Super Bowl bound line.
Vince, go ahead and
So
speak.
do I get extra time?
Go ahead, as much as
maybe
you need.
next
Don't
time.
worry about it. We got all night. We got all night. Talk as much as you want now.
Just want to say Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing you next year.
And go.
And go Lions.
Here we go.
And blue.
And green and white.
Go white. Go blue.
Anyways.
I wore the red tie on purpose.
All right. Anybody else in the audience?
Move to adjourn?
All right.
Support.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Baydun,
Support.
supported by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Holidays.